Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 14 of Valiant Effort. My name is Josh.
I'm Nick. The name of this episode is Darque Reckoning.
Stop. That is not his name.
It's Darque. I don't like the name Dark. I just think it's dumb, so I think his name with a... it's spelled with a Q-U-E.
So when you read it, knowing that his name is Darque, you still read it?
No, I read it as Dark.
Okay.
But I just think it's a silly name, so I call it Darque. Oh. Or Darque.
I think it's dramatic.
I think it's a silly name. It's like...
But he's, French.
Someone else... Well, there you go. It's Darque.
Yeah.
But it's like someone calling someone else that, Wolverine. If you call him Knives or something.
Hey, Knives. Hey, look, it's Batarang. Watch out. Webs is coming at us. The Brethren step up their attacks on Jack and attempt to kill Shadowman. One of Jack's friends is killed. Darque, still reeling from his defeat in the last volume, teams up with Samedi in an attempt to leave the dead side. Jack and Samedi battle until Samedi reveals that he wants to team up with Jack against Darque. Jack and Samedi begin dismantling the Brethren's institution. Doc fears it's all a distraction, covering up what Darque is really up to. He travels to the dead side and is captured by Darque. Jack and Samedi travel to the dead side to rescue Dox. A large, confusing battle then takes place. Darque is stopped, and Dox dies.
What was that all about?
This story sucks. And so I crinkled up my paper because I was annoyed by the story.
I can tell because you weren't really interested in reading that summary.
And it sucks. And I hate that it sucks.
Why do you hate that it sucks?
Because I want to enjoy it and I want to have fun talking about something. But I feel like that I'm about to bash this book to smithereens. So I hope that you have some positive things to say because I don't have very many positive things to say. And I feel bad because I love this company and I like this character. I just don't like this version of the character.
What character? Darque? Or...
I like Darque a lot, and his name is Darque, and that's what I'm calling him. And I like Jack too, but not how they're presented here.
What about the older version of Shadowman? Was there an older version of Shadowman?
Yeah, so this is the third version of Shadowman. So you have the original Valiant Universe version of Shadowman. Then you have the acclaimed version of Shadowman, and this is some weird mashup of the two, but they take all the things that are wrong and not all the things that are right and make this character.
Okay, so they both, the wrong things kind of get compounded.
Yeah, the things that I don't like about those versions of the character are the things that are the most present in this.
All right. There's a lot of new terminology in this book. Even like the very first word, the Baron. I mean, I know that that's a name, but I don't know who that is. And then the next line is Lord of the Gade, or what, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Yep. Two new things already. I need to now figure out what these things are. And then that's just piled on top of the Loa, and now Samedi as well, which I now know is a name. But it's just, I just got done learning a whole bunch of other names in Harbinger Wars. Now I have more things.
But you know what was good about Harbinger Wars? Is they gave you a list of all the characters.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know who somebody was, you could go to the beginning of the or where that list is and look at it and go, oh, that's who this person is and what their job is. But there's no glossary of these terms, and these terms mean nothing to me because I am a white person from Connecticut, and so I don't know about voodoo, and I'm sorry that I don't know about voodoo, and I think that it's important to take opportunities like this to learn things, but I felt like I'm going to Wikipedia every 2 minutes reading this book because I don't know what that word is, and it's not explained, and even when they do have a word, right, like dead side, that is not a voodoo thing. Dead side is not a voodoo thing.
It's hell. right?
Yeah, no, it's not. What is Deadside? It's not hell. It's like purgatory because they talk about how souls can go on,
Oh,
but
yeah.
so not. I mean, is that little girl who has the rabbit in hell? Is that rabbit in hell? What did the rabbit do to anybody? The rabbit didn't do anything to anybody. The rabbit is perfectly nice.
It's just that.
And why doesn't the rabbit talk? Jaunty talks. Okay. So does that mean that there was a monkey in real life that could talk and wore a hat and now it's dead and is in the dead side? Or does it mean that all animals can talk once they've entered dead side? No, because the rabbit didn't talk. So what the heck is up with that?
Woo! All right. I think this is a precursor for what the rest of the episode is going to be. Strap your seatbelts in, folks. This is going to be an interesting ride we're going for.
What is dead side?
I don't know. I always figured it was their version of hell. And actually, while reading in this, they did kind of mention a purgatory type state, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I figured maybe it's purgatory, as you just said. But I don't know.
But like there's buildings there and the buildings are getting destroyed and there are souls there and the souls are being they're feeding Darque somehow. They're giving him energy and don't know what Deadside is. And that was the thing that I liked the least about the acclaimed version of Shadowman was Deadside because I didn't know what it was. And I still don't. And maybe that makes me an idiot. It makes me feel like I'm an idiot.
Well, I don't know what Deadside is.
Okay.
And there are many other things about this book that I don't know what is going on. And I think they attempted to explain it, but I just don't think it was clear enough for someone who needs to be talked to like a baby sometimes.
This is the thing that I want the people who are listening to me right now to understand, okay? This book was frustrating to me, and it was frustrating to me in a lot of areas. There was 9 different artists. I don't like stories about magic. I don't know all the terminology. Those are all things that annoy me. But the reason that I'm really, though, raising my voice and being, I don't know, angry, because I'm almost angry about it,
Yeah.
is not because of that. It's because this story is about nothing. Stories need to have purpose. You have to be able to ask a writer what the story is about, and the writer has to then say things that are not plot points, because you can then say, "Oh, it's about Darque, and he's trying to get out of the dead side so that he can come back to regular Earth." And okay, but that's not what the story is about. This story isn't even about like something simple and basic like good versus evil, because those things are not clearly defined in Deadside, and you're not sure that Darque is evil and Jack is a jerk to people, so you're not sure that he's good. So it doesn't even have that simple concept. And that's okay for books like Harbinger, which are deep and they have more to say about life, but this is not deep at all, and it's nothing. I read 5 books and there's nothing for me to grab onto. I thought, okay, so the first book, I apologize for my writing.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first book I really liked. Like the first issue in this, I liked that we're introduced to Darque again, and I like that he's trying to team up with Samedi to get out, and I like the introduction of Dr. Mirage a lot, and I like that Jack lost the girl that he was kind of into. And I thought that moment was going to like, oh, okay, so he's got something to fight for. But then we kind of forget about her, and it's not important. And she even shows up as a dead ghost later on for 1 page, but it's not really important. And so, like, okay, here's a concept. You have a person, and something traumatic happens to him in his life, and it shapes him, and he turns into a different kind of person. And he uses that to fuel himself. But that doesn't happen here. He just blahs his way through the rest of the story. There's no character growth at all. None.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I tend to agree with the whole Seinfeld concept. That is really just a story about nothing. I was thinking the same thing when I was reading the books. I'm not as passionate about it as you are, I suppose, because I'm not as invested as you have been over the last few years. However, I do get the feeling that I still don't know what the story is in this. I know Darque is trying to leave the dark side, but why? Why is he trying to leave? That is not explained clearly enough. He kind of goes into something about wanting to be better than God. Why? There's no... I don't understand what his reason is. It's not explained. And then what is Shadowman's purpose? It's briefly described that his purpose is to be the opposite of Darque. Why? What? There's got to be a bigger purpose for Shadowman. Okay, so what's the purpose of Samedi? Is he Satan or is he not Satan? I don't understand what. Everything just feels two-dimensional. I've been throwing out three-dimensional a lot in these last few episodes with characters and stories, and this one it's just I see the characters, I see the setting, but I don't feel anything for the characters. Except for Doc. I like Doc.
And he's dead.
Yes.
So your favorite character in the book is dead.
And he's dead.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he had to die. There was no reason for him to die.
So let's go back to two-dimensional. This version of Darque is Cobra Commander. The first volume, he has a mission. He's trying to get out of Deadside. Oh, he fails. Reset. Second volume, not about something different. Same premise. Darque's trying to get out of Deadside. Oh, he fails. That's every episode of G.I. Joe. Cobra Commander is trying to do something. G.I. Joe says, nope. Stop him. Reset to the beginning of the episode.
Same thing with Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, all those kid shows. So Darque was so cool in the original Valiant universe. He was so evil and mean, and like the people that he was hurting were not dead people already. So like you really felt that he had power, and he wasn't stuck in this netherworld either. He was in real life, affecting things.
But now he's kind of killing ghosts in this one, and it's like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, that's nice. You have a spire filled with ghosts that are suffering. They're already dead.
I actually, you know what? I did like the character that Samedi takes over. I didn't really understand what his whole deal was, but then I realized he was a vessel for Samedi.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I think that's a cool little concept.
He had a cool tattoo that Patrick Zircher drew very well, but then the other 9 artists didn't draw correctly.
Right. They totally omitted his name on his chest, on his stomach.
So one artist didn't even draw the eyes or the mouths at all. What? Okay, 9 artists. Come on. Why are there 9 artists? And Patrick Zircher does a good job. Roberto Della Torre does a good job. He's the guy who drew the scene with the bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
So that's really cool artwork. And he's going to take over the book. And his artwork in future volumes is gorgeous. But they just, why are there 9 artists?
Was this? You told me a long time ago that there was going to be a book somewhere in the future.
This is it.
This is the one.
This is the book that drives me the most crazy because of the art changes. I mean, Doc looks like a little person, then he looks like a child, then he looks like a full adult,
that he does.
Grown 6 foot tall person.
Yeah, there was like the first few times I saw Doc, I was like, wait, I thought he was supposed to be small.
Yeah, and then sometimes he's drawn as this white guy, and sometimes he's drawn as the Hispanic guy he's supposed to be. And
I didn't even know he's supposed to be Hispanic.
Well, his last name is Verdad, so I assume that he's Hispanic. But like, where is the consistency on that too? And at least, if you're gonna have different artists, could you at least get one artist to draw a whole issue? Only one issue in this is drawn by one person throughout. All the rest are just pieced together. Okay, I want to talk about magic.
I like the buxom chick.
Okay, Doctor. You want to talk about Dr. Mirage?
I have nothing to say about her.
Okay, so Dr. Mirage
in
in the original Valiant universe was a man.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool that they changed it because Valiant doesn't have very many female characters, and I'm not entirely sure why her cleavage cut in her shirt has to be down to her navel, but okay, whatever, I'll go with it. I like her hair.
It's for people like me. That's
for people like you, it
canting over the book,
keeps you interested. So I like that it's a new character. I like it that it's a female character. I am really annoyed in how she's in 2 issues, and then she's on the cover of issue number 7, but she's not in issue 7 or 8 or 9. So, okay, we're introduced to her, and she seems like she's going to have a big part in it. And then, where'd she go? Oh, doesn't matter, because this book is just aimlessly going through its plot.
Do you think that the people who are working on Shadowman are kind of, I don't know, being forced? Not forced, but just kind of having to plug their way through this?
I'm not sure. Okay,
because all the other books that we've read so far are just so much more in depth and more engaging, and this one,
okay, so they started with 4 titles and they introduced Shadowman as the 5th title, and I really feel like they weren't ready. I feel like people were saying, well, when's your 5th title going to come out? What's your 5th title going to be? And they maybe felt some pressure that they had to have another title come out, and Shadowman was a very popular title. Shadowman had a video game that sold pretty well for Acclaim also, and so maybe that's why they pushed it. But I don't think that this book was ready. I don't think that the character, the story plot was planned out, and certainly art wise. There's a book that Karen and I read called Saga. It's produced by Image. And it's brilliant. It is one of the best comics being published. You know what they do? They make 6 issues, and then they wait a couple months so that they can catch up on art and catch up on story and make sure that they're telling a good story. And then they do 6 more issues. And I think maybe this book should have done that. Instead of cobbling together 9 artists to tell one story, maybe they should have taken a break. And you're not actually reading it in the order that the stories came out. In the middle of this was a 0 issue that came out. And you know what? The 0 issue is really, really good. And so you have issue 5 that's good, and then you have issue 6 come out, and it's not that great. And then you have 0 issue, and you're like, oh my God, is this what this title is going to be? If this is what the title is going to be, this 0 issue, then yes, I'm ready for it. And then you have the rest of this.
So where's the 0 issue?
The 0 issue we'll get in the 3rd volume of Shadowman.
Okay.
So that was, as a month-to-month reader, that was very frustrating because it's like, oh, they get it. Oh, no, they don't get it. Magic. Can I talk about magic?
Yes, go ahead with magic.
Okay. So, I'm gonna make a confession to you.
You don't like Full Metal Alchemist.
I don't like Full Metal Alchemist. And the reason I don't like Full Metal Alchemist, well, there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the reasons I don't like Full Metal Alchemist is because I know it's science, but it's magic. It's a magic story. And I'm not really into magic stories, very similar to how I don't like vampire stories.
Okay.
It's just not my thing. So when people are having big battles at the end of a story or a movie, and the battles consist of my light is stronger than your light, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what that means, and I don't like that. I think that light battles, unless they're lightsabers or lightning swords, are stupid. And so Darque has his evil light, and Shadowman has his green good light, and they're meeting in the middle, and one light is going one way like a tug of war, and one light's going the other way. And why is that exciting?
It's a visual representation of good versus evil battle. I don't know.
Okay. So I guess I just don't particularly care for magic stories, which is too bad because I like Zatanna and her costume. But Zatanna, that's a DC magic character. Oh. So do you like magic?
I like Full Metal Alchemist. I didn't really get the whole magic thing on this. mean, I see that Darque has the triangles on his forehead here, and they got the alchemic I'm going to call them alchemic circles.
Yeah, that's fine because that's what it is.
Yeah, it's what do they call them in here? The Vives.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, but Dox has that all up on his chest from Mr. Twist, and they have the imbuing on the bullets. Yeah. Makes sense to me.
That was cool. I like that because we actually saw what the magic was. It's like, I'm going to put this little symbol on a bullet, and that's going to do something. But when it's just two people meeting on a field of battle, or whatever the dead side is, and they just have light going at each other, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what that means.
Why does Shadowman have powers? He's got a giant scythe. Shouldn't he be fighting with that?
Yeah. I don't know what his powers are. Yeah, it's like...
what are his powers?
It's like his powers are whatever the writer needs his powers to be.
The only power that I've seen him have is that he gets a little bit stronger, he puts on a black costume, and he can traverse between the dark side and present day, which I forget what they keep calling it. Something
Earth.
Weird.
It's real life. I don't know. My favorite part in the big battle sequence is when Shadowman says to Darque that you have no friends while he's fighting his gigantic army.
Yeah, I know.
He has plenty of friends.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? He has nobody. There's like thousands of soldiers right behind him that he just created. But I was willing to let my disbelief be suspended, and I just rolled with it because I'm just kind of just reading through it. I feel like they have also like a...
You know the movie that's about to come out, Lucy, with Scarlett Johansson?
I don't have TV, so I don't know.
So there's this movie that's about to come out called Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. And the premise of the movie is that she gets kidnapped and these people put drugs in her body so that she'll be a drug mule and carry them for her back to America. But the drugs leak into her system, and the drugs do something to her brain where she uses more than 10% of her brain. So she now can use 100% of her brain. But what happens is she can break the laws of physics because of it, and I don't really know why.
You can't break the laws of physics.
You can't break the laws of physics. So just because you can use more of your brain doesn't mean that you're a superhero or that, How did I read a review of it, a review of the trailer is like, she now can use 100% of her brain and she's become a wizard. So like she can stop bullets with her hand and she can turn time back by swiping her hand. And so I feel like that's the same thing that like with magic, they say that it's science, but science doesn't necessarily make you be able to break the laws of physics. So I just want to know what their powers are, why they have those powers, and what those powers are about.
Yeah, they just kind of have them. I don't know. I didn't really notice that they used magic that often. I keep seeing, like right here, where the Shadowman's throwing this guy across the room.
Yeah.
And just,
I'm talking about the last chapter where...
that stuff.
Yeah, where Darque's got all these lights coming at, and
yeah, okay, I saw that.
This is really riveting radio right now, where we're just flipping through the book and I'm going like this, for example, and then it goes, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But nobody else does.
Open the book to a random page in the last issue, and maybe you'll see Darque holding his hand up, very posed like. And there's this red light coming from him because red is bad, evil light,
and then green or blue,
and then Shadowman and Dox, they have green lights, so that means that they're good.
And Darque's getting hit with symbols, backwards Z and a forward Z next to each other, and no smoking sign.
How stupid is Doc's plan? Doc says to Shadowman, oh, you can't team up with him. And Shadowman goes, no, I think that that's a good idea. And Doc goes, well, screw you. And then he wanders off. And then he says, I can't believe that the Shadow Man left us. No, actually, it was the other way around. You left him, but whatever. I'll ignore that point. And then he says, okay, I'm going to attach this weird living thing to my chest, and I'm going to go to the dead side because nothing bad could happen to me in the dead side. And 3 seconds into being in the dead side, he is speared because that can happen to souls. Souls can get speared. And then he's dragged to a spire, and he basically spends the rest of the issue saying cool things to Darque
because it's his last moment.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens is when someone's in their last moments, they just give these deep and contemplative, profound thoughts and quips.
But his plan is stupid. Like, why were you doing that? Why don't you just try? Why don't you listen to Alyssa? Alyssa's like, hey, Docs, maybe we should find Shadowman. He can help us figure this out. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
And it goes against what Docs was saying, too, earlier, because Docs was saying, oh, I should have been there to help you more and tell you more, but I wasn't there. And then
I know that there was that lovely 2-page flashback where they were talking about, yeah, exactly what you just said. And
then as soon as he got done saying that, he went against what he said he was going to do. And I was like, what? Come on, man. Just like, do what you say you're going to do.
Can I tell you 2 of the complaints that I've heard about this story? And I want to refute those complaints.
All right.
So I'm going to take something that somebody says and refute it, at least. So one of the complaints is that Jack, and I've heard Dinesh said this to me. New York Comic Con 2013, I talked to Dinesh about Shadowman and how I'm not a fan of it. And he showed me a preview copy of what's coming up to try to get me interested in what was coming up. So I'll talk about that experience when we get to that volume of Shadowman. But one of the things that he said is that he thought that people didn't like Jack because he was a goody two-shoes. And I have to respectfully disagree with that. He's not a goody two-shoes. He's a jerk.
Yes.
He's not a nice person, which is fine. I can be interested in characters who are not good people, like Peter, right? But he is not a nice person, and he's also boring, I guess. But he's not a goody two-shoes. In fact, he's the opposite. He's headstrong. Maybe that's the Loa. Maybe that when he's Shadowman, he's grumpier. But he's still when he's not the Loa, he's still grumpy. So I disagree with that. I don't know what the listeners think. So you don't think he's a goody two-shoes?
No. I kind of get the vibe that he's just an idiot who just kind of
he's lost in all this magic world because nobody is explaining it to him or us.
And to be honest, I'd probably be doing the same thing because if nobody told me that that I can't go out into the real world, I'm gonna go out into the real world. I don't have to stay in this safe house. All of a sudden, Alyssa comes out and she's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm eating breakfast." And
I'm eating breakfast. Why are your glasses on the top of your head and you never wear them? Sorry.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing because they didn't really explain the whole thing that people are always going to be after him. So I can understand, but I still don't get his character either. I don't understand how he changes into Shadowman. Why does he change into Shadowman? What makes him change into Shadowman? All of a sudden,
what is he supposed to do when he's Shadowman?
There's a whole bunch of just unanswered questions that I think should have been answered. There's a line where you can have, like unanswered questions and answered questions.
Right. I think Bloodshot does a good job traversing that line.
Yeah.
We still don't know who he is.
We don't know who he is, but we have this sense that he is going to find out who he is, or at least he's on that journey to do that. And we know what his purpose is. Shadowman, I don't know what his purpose is. I don't know what his story is. I don't know what his journey is. I don't know anything about him other than the fact that he's a guy and he changes into this black costume dude and fights Darque. Where's the story in that?
Yeah.
There's no story. So to go back to the Jack character, I don't know. He just seems like, I don't know. I don't really actually have an opinion on the Jack character because I don't really get to see him too often, other than when he's just walking around and trying to just live out his life, and all of a sudden something happens and he turns into Shadow Man. I don't know.
Here's another big complaint I hear about Shadow Man. It's not connected enough with the rest of the Valiant universe.
It does kind of feel like its own standalone thing.
I don't want it to be because it sucks. And there are things that I don't understand about it. And what I like about Valiant is that the thing about Valiant is it's supposed to be the view outside your window. You look outside your window, this could happen. Like these could be real events that could happen. And what would life be like if that were the case? But I don't feel like this is real life. I feel this is just superhero-y. And it's the magic again. So when people say, I wish it was more connected with the Valiant universe, I say, no, that's okay. I'm fine with it because I can pretend that it's something different.
Kind of like my thoughts on Aliens versus Predator. Whereas you consider that to be an official part of the story for Aliens and Predator, where I don't, because I don't want it to.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that those two those two aliens should be in the same story. The only reason that movie was conceptualized is because their fans out in the world are saying, well, aliens are better. No, Predator is better. Well, they make a movie to say, hey, let's see what happens. And guess what happened? Nobody won!
Both of those movies ended with people running away from nuclear explosions, yes. Which makes no sense. Hey, Godzilla ended that way too. And True Lies. How many movies end with people outrunning nuclear explosions?
Or how about outrunning the weather in
yeah, right.
Day After Tomorrow?
Yes. That's right, when they were running into the library.
Yeah. But I totally see what you're saying there, where you don't want it to be part of that story because you just don't want it to be.
Also, like, in I'm going to say real Valiant. In real Valiant universe, the stuff that I'm enjoying, when people die, they're dead. Oh, wait, no, maybe they're in Deadside. Shakespeare and Hammerhead is Pulse in Deadside. Or did they have enough of a clear conscience and no questions that they could go right through?
I didn't even think of that.
How many questions does that little girl possibly have? Why didn't she just go straight to heaven or whatever the next stage is? Poor girl. Stuck in Deadside with a rabbit.
Why was she chasing the rabbit?
She wasn't. The Darque's army was chasing the rabbit and she saved it.
Okay.
Because they wanted every little soul that they could.
Why does he want the souls? I don't.
Because they fuel his gigantic tower.
And what does the tower do?
I assume it gets him to Earth. I'm not sure how, because they didn't explain it.
Well, one thing I did like, I kind of touched upon already.
Please tell me the things that you like, because I feel like I've been bashing this book, and I want to hear some positive things.
Well, I like the Samedi character.
Okay, I like Samedi too.
I didn't think I was going to like his character because, I didn't think I was going to like this entire book at all. So I was kind of going into the whole thing, kind of going, oh my god, here we go. All right, let's do this. And upon reading it, I see Samedi, and then he takes over that voodoo worshiper's body, who he has to have kill himself in order to take it over. I did not expect that. I was like, well, can't you just take it over and kind of take over his personality too? That would have been an interesting take on it too. But I did like the Samedi character and how Samedi is actually teaming up with Shadowman, because they both know that Darque is bad for both of them, so they both team up and to take him over. That was a neat concept.
I like Samedi. I liked Dr. Mirage in the first book. I liked the first book a lot, actually. I was interested in her. I wanted more of her interacting with people from the dead side, and Um,
I like her character design just because I'm a guy, but in this I felt it was forced. I felt she just came out of the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden she disappeared again.
I like Patrick Zerker's art. He did the art at the beginning of the first and the second issue. I like Roberto Della Torre's art. He did a lot of the Dead Side stuff at the end.
I also liked Docs. I'm just disappointed that he had to die so quickly.
I like Docs too. I like Alyssa. Also, even though I complain about her glasses.
They're staying up on her forehead quite well.
Yeah, well, she never puts them on. They're just there.
I like how Shadowman was actually able to persuade Samedi to do whatever he needed Samedi to do by just throwing his scythe up to his throat. And I'm like, dude, this is the Lord of Darkness. Like, and you're actually able to convince him to join your side just by throwing a scythe up to his throat. I would think that he would have had like, oh boy, you better try better than that, and just kind of knock him away. But
yeah, personality-wise, one of the things I do like about Shadowman is that he's got some brass ones, and in a different way than Eric does.
Is that a character trait of the Shadowman or of Jack?
I think it's the Shadowman of the Loa. I think Jack is kind of meek. He says things that aren't the nicest, but I think that he's a pretty meek character. And when he's taken over, because that's what it is, he's taken over. It's different. Mm. So, what do you think about Jaunty? He's your guy.
Oh, Jaunty.
He's your jam.
He's my jelly.
I heard somebody use that in a sentence in something I was listening to, and I went, oh, okay, good. Not just me.
I have never heard anyone else ever say that before, so I still think it's strange.
So
Jaunty's just Jaunty. What is up with Jaunty? I don't know.
Is he good? Is he bad? He's good.
Jaunty is the trickster, as Samedi calls him.
He's like Loki, then.
Loki?
The
I know that name.
Avengers. He's the villain in Avengers with the big horns.
I did not watch that movie.
Well, he's the Norse trickster god.
Oh, okay.
It's okay that you didn't watch Loki. Vague news: are you going to watch the Archer and Armstrong movie when it's made?
I did. I was looking through our emails on Valiant Podcast.
VEpodcast@gmail.com?
No, not our emails. Our Twitter feed.
Our Twitter, at VE Podcast?
Yeah. And somebody did mention about the Archer and Armstrong movie, and I was like, oh, that's awesome!
Would you...
I would watch that.
Would you watch the Bloodshot movie when it comes out?
There's a Bloodshot movie coming out?
They're working on one.
Then yes.
Will you watch the Shadowman movie when it comes out?
Possibly.
Well, you will for this podcast. Those are the three
then.
movies they're working on right now.
They should make a Harbingers one. That'd be cool.
I would like that as a TV show. Because then you could go in depth more.
Can you imagine that with like a sitcom type opening, like The Friends?
What? That was the between music for Seinfeld.
Oh.
Doop, 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 doop.
I tend to disagree.
Yeah, I know. It's that little jazz thing. Yeah, there you go.
Ow.
End of vague news.
Oh. I'm hoping to watch the Turtles movie. When it comes out. Or the new Dumb and Dumber movie.
Have anything more to say about this?
Who's Duvro?
He's one of the Brethren.
What is the Brethren? That was the other question I had.
The Brethren was the group. Remember in the first volume, you're like, oh, the boring page, because it had all the politics on it. That's the Brethren.
So why does Darque go after this pencil pusher here?
Well, they're trying to help Darque get back to reality.
Why?
I don't know. It's not clear.
The other thing I noticed is that they also have a thing for the Shadowman logo. It's everywhere.
Oh, well, so in a trade, sometimes they have to put in a filler page when you have a 2-page spread that comes up, they have to have their pages lined up so that the 2-page spread hits correctly. So they'll put in a logo every now and then, so that will be the case, which is not happening here.
Yeah, just one more page.
Yeah. Well, they do that so that they can line up their. You know what I mean by a 2-page spread?
Yeah. No.
2-page spread is when the panels go across 2 pages.
Yeah. Okay.
So in printing, you have to line those up. So you'll notice at the beginning of every book they put in the logo. They do that with all.
That's what I noticed at the beginning of every book, like they do in every.
Yeah. They do that with all the books.
Right, they do that with it, but they don't have the logo.
Yeah,
this is
with
the only one that has
with
a
every
logo.
trade they've done it. Yep.
I have only noticed it with the stripey thing, not with an actual logo of the story that we're reading.
Okay. Every trade I think has it.
Oh.
They have different logos, but.
Well. Oh look, there's the logo again. But it's actually dark.
You have anything else to say about this? Before our
jaunty,
wrap-up comments?
jaunty. I still don't get jaunty at all. But I do. I do kind of like his character now, even though I still don't really know what he's up to. I just like his little quirkiness and that he works with anybody, and it kind of feels like he's just working with people to
not die.
Basically for his own benefit, which is to not die.
I actually kind of like Jaunty too, although I don't know why he's a talking monkey, but I'm okay with that. Like, if that was the only thing that bothered me, it wouldn't bother me. But because other things bother me, then I've ranted about that as well.
Yeah. So the last episode on Shadowman, when I was going off on Jaunty for a little bit, not as much now, just because I kind of like his character now. And I still don't understand Darque. Pretty much, but that's just going back into another circle. I don't get it.
Easter eggs. There's a bunch.
Is there? There's 9 of something. I know that.
Oh, there's 9 artists.
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I was counting earlier. So we talked about Dr. Mirage and how that was an original character, so that's cool. Samedi was also in the original Valiant. Samedi was the first villain that Shadowman fought, so I'm glad to see him back. The cover to issue number 5 and the cover to issue number 8 are both homages to different covers. This was actually the cover of the cover to number 5 was actually a cover to an issue of Eternal Warrior. I think number 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can't. They can.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And the cover to number 8 was an homage to cover number 8 or 9 of the original Shadowman. So that's neat. I always love that kind of stuff. Did you notice during the flashback who was on the wall in the pictures?
His parents. Oh, hey, look at that.
Dox is drinking a beer with Armstrong. So that I like. That's cool.
You know, I was actually looking for Jalad in not these pictures, but somewhere else. I was like on the spires. Actually, I was looking for Jalad on the spires for some reason. That's funny. I should have been looking for Armstrong too.
Yeah, so I like that. Here's a fun thing: the recap page at the beginning of this.
I'm so glad that was there.
Well, it must have been a little confusing since this was the recap page for issue number 4, not for number 5. The cliffhanger that they leave you off on is wrapping up the last story.
I didn't notice that because it was so long ago when we read that.
So they published the wrong recap page in here, which is
But it was
funny.
still good that was there because if that wasn't there, I would have forgotten. I already forgot a lot of the stuff that was going on. So
also, we met the waitress before in the first volume. I don't know if you remember that.
She did look familiar.
In the first volume, her name was Anne. In this volume, they called her Alifair. And then they realized their mistake, and when he visited her grave, he called her Anne Alifair.
I was wondering how he knew her full name.
At least he caught it.
But I thought he was reading her name off the gravestone. But I guess, again, they could have totally been doing that. So that's... Who names their kid Alifair? Where did the name Alifair come from?
I don't know, but it's a cool name. I actually kind of like it. We should look it up.
That's your job.
That's my job. Well, I didn't. Because I was too busy preparing my rants. Okay, let's talk about covers.
Have you gotten all your rants out?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
What's your favorite cover, Nick?
No.
What? Your favorite cover is not the 8-bit Final Fantasy cover? That's Final Fantasy! That's your favorite game.
Oh, I didn't... Let me look at this again.
Yeah, that's 8-bit Final Fantasy.
Because I didn't look at all of them. I looked up to this part right here.
Okay, well, you missed some covers.
I did. All right.
I was for certain that of all the 8-bit covers, you would pick this one. And he says, your move, Hoss.
All right.
There's some cool things on this cover, by the way. Shadowman has 1,992 hit points out of 2013. 1992 was when Shadowman was introduced. 2013 is when this book came out. So that's kind of neat.
Jaunty has 12 hit points. Mr. Twist. He's almost dead. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that one because it's Final Fantasy, and I didn't see past here earlier.
Yeah.
I only saw up to the black and white covers, and I thought that was it, and I didn't really want to ruin anything else, so I didn't keep looking. So yeah. Actually, both of these right here are really neat.
So Dave Johnson's variant cover to Shadowman number 7 with the Dr. Mirage cover.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite covers of all of Valiant comics. I hope that doesn't make me a pervert. I like the Hamlet-ness of it. I like the logo for Dr. Mirage. Again, she wasn't in issue number 7, so I'm not really sure why she got 2 covers for issue number 7, but we will see more of Dr. Mirage later, which is good. So that's actually my pick, is that cover. And the 8-bit cover, I have that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And the honorable mention, the David Mack cover, the number 8 variant. That's pretty cool. David Mack, that's not a pencil drawing. He draws, he paints in layers, and you can see different cutouts in it, and his art is 3-dimensional. So
it looks 2D to me.
You're looking at a 2D version of it, but there, see the tape?
Yeah.
There's lots of layers to it, and some of his stuff is really quite incredible. So that's a cool cover.
Okay.
Did you like it, Nick?
I'm indifferent to it. Because it was a quick read for me. When I found out that it was 5 books, I was like, oh, 5 books? Like, so many books. But it was a quick read for me, and even though I still don't understand what's going on, I enjoyed it a tiny bit more than the other one. But it's still my least favorite of them, because I still don't understand what is going on. It's still flat. It's just there's nothing to it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next time.
So indifferent means a C?
Yeah, I guess so.
We're not. I hate to do that because I try not to do that. Grading, because grading is so subjective. It's a push for you.
Yeah.
Dislike, like, push.
It's if okay. So if we have a thumbs up and a thumbs down, I'm just in the middle of the thumbs, just in the middle of both of them, but still pointing a little bit towards thumbs down.
Okay. All right.
Maybe 60%. Did you like it?
Do you want to read the next volume?
Do I? I know I have to read the next volume
for completeness sake. Yeah.
If I had a choice, if I was a comic reader right now, I think I would stop right here.
You would stop this story. Yep.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's enough. Done for me.
Okay. That's fair. No, I did not like it. I liked things about it. But the last volume, I straddled the fence. And I did it for a couple reasons. Mostly because we were a new podcast, and I didn't want to offend anybody, which is not a good reason. But I didn't want to be negative. But I can't hold that back anymore. It's not for me. It's not something that I'm enjoying.
So why do you have them?
Complete's sake.
Okay.
I really believe in Valiant as a company. I think that Valiant is making the best comics on the market, and I want to support them. I want them to succeed. And I understand that not everything could be good. And I understand that not everything is going to be something that I like. Because I have read many things where people are defending this. People who like horror comics or like dark comics. No pun intended there, I guess. But it's just not for me. And I do like horror comics. Like Lock and Key is a horror comic that is brilliant. When I read Lock and Key, first of all, I can't read it before I go to bed because I know I'm going to dream about it. And not like I'm worried that I'm going to dream that I'm being attacked by monsters or anything like that, but it's also got a mystery aspect to it. And if I read mysteries before I go to bed, I try to solve them in my sleep. So there's that. So that is a sign of something. If you're dreaming about it, you know that it's sticking with you. And also when I read Lock and Key, like I will catch myself holding my breath at times. And I don't do that with this. I never go, oh. So, it's just not for me. I will say this. The next volume has the 0 issue in it. And the 0 issue is incredible. And I don't normally bias you by saying things like that. I try to just hand the book to you and let you come up with your own natural opinion. But I don't necessarily want you, when I hand you the next book, to go, I want you to know that there is a positive that's coming in this story.
Okay.
Okay? So, but this is not that. Get your act together on the artist. So that's why I buy it, because I want this company to succeed. But it's on the bottom of my read pile, certainly. Now for something completely different.
Where's that from?
It's Monty Python.
Ah, okay.
The next thing that we're going to read
Quantum and Woody?
Quantum and Woody Volume 1.
What is this?
That's a goat.
What is this? This looks like a comedy to me. Is this going to be a comedy?
I don't
The
want...
world's worst superhero team? This sounds awesome! Clang! Like, clap... No. Oh, I love that. I love that.
The world's worst superhero team.
Yeah, so this sounds fun.
And there's a goat.
And there's a goat. He's eating something that says Quantum on it.
He's eating the cover that you're looking at.
That's cool. This actually looks really interesting to read, so this will be fun. I think I just saw a naked body.
Yeah, there are naked people in this.
Okay.
Nudity is part of real life.
I disagree.
What?
I'm just disagreeing just because I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
Just for the sake of disagreeing, that's all.
So, to repeat what I did earlier, that's the end of Shadowman, Volume 2. Thanks for listening. You can Twitter, at VE Podcast. You can email us, vepodcast@gmail.com. iTunes, Stitcher, please give us reviews. You're reading my notes?
Yeah.
What are some of the highlights in my notes for Shadowman?
I just like how you write down your notes like they do in movies. Like, nobody ever writes these things. Like, what does this mean, with an arrow pointing to whatever? And you have, what is this about, in big letters, and then the word frustrating is in a giant square with little words around it. It's just like nobody does that except for people in movies. I've just never seen it like that.
Well, I get it. I can't wait for the next episode. I just want to say that.
Battles that are light and lame.
Battles that are light are lame.
Oh, are lame.
They are lame. That was a lame battle at the end.
All right.
See you next time. That was fun.